Me slowly losing people watching the stream over this moment is funnier to me than the moment itself. Come on, though, you gotta admit, those end credits are really freaking good. Same song as the opening credits as a theme song as well, so that's how you know it's a really good tune. Alright, Bimmy. I don't think you were around during the dinosaur time, so how did you feel watching the first Dinosaurs episode? Those things are hell spawns. No, they're not. Come on, even for like the 90s, they're decently well-made animatronics. Yeah, until they're like Freddy Fazbear and go, whoa. No, Freddy Fazbear doesn't go blah, Bimmy. Have you ever even played the game? Have you? Well, I don't really like it that much, but yeah, I mean, I've played it a little bit. Freaking hate this channel. Okay, hater. Regardless, today we are looking at a Dinosaurs episode, recommended to me by my brother again. You know what? It's weird because these videos generally get decent enough views, especially compared to my other live streams. So, like, why don't you guys recommend me stuff? Like, come on. Don't be afraid to comment. To give this a very unpopular channel some love. Anyways, this one's special because it's the first time I'm talking about an episode from season 2 of something. I'm not just doing a season 1. This time, however, I mean, I know the way Disney Plus kind of messed up the Dinosaurs episode order, but apparently, even in the regular order of the show, this is still in season 2, so at least I reviewed it when I was supposed to. Regardless, it's Last Temptation of Ethyl, and honestly, of all the... First of all, I'm shocked my brother even picked a Dinosaurs episode, considering just like a certain bunny, he finds the characters kind of creepy. So just him picking an episode in general is kind of weird. Especially an episode like this. Like, of all random episodes you could pick, he decided to choose this one. Admittedly, when rewatching my review for this Modern Thoughts, I actually think I already did a really good job explaining my thoughts on this episode, and rewatching it, not a ton changed, but so even more than the past ones, this one's going to really be me trying my best to find some new ground to tackle this episode, but I do also recommend you just watch my Dinosaur Season 2 review in general, or at least the review of Last Temptation of Ethel, because that's the part I actually watched, or rewatched, I should say. And just a quick summary for those who haven't watched the episode or my Dinosaur Season 2 review. In this episode, Ethel is, she's Fran's grandmother, so obviously she's very old and, well, not Fran's grandmother. She's the mother of Fran, the main wife. She is a grandmother to Fran's children, though. How am I already getting sidetracked by this? Anyway, so yeah, she's old and not really enjoying life. However, she ends up croaking and pretty much dying. And she goes to heaven, where she ends up enjoying things. However, it's eventually revealed to her that it's not her time to be in heaven yet. So she ends up going back down to Earth. And ends up and because she hates life so much, she mostly just spends her time talking about how amazing heaven is, which pretty much brings alongside it people from TV who just want to use her story as an excuse to get ratings. Which, trust me, if you've watched as much Dinosaur Season 2 as I have, which is all of it, then yeah, TV shows and just talking about television is something that the season likes to do quite a lot, so this is a very reasonable plot progression for this kind of show. Anyway, Ethel at first is delighted about it. However, Fran notices how everyone now just wants to die and go to heaven already because apparently it's so amazing. It makes people not care whatsoever about real life. Eventually, though, Ethel's brought back to heaven only for her husband, who has died since like before we even first saw Ethel. And he pretty much tells her, hey, knock it off of talking about heaven and all that because, yeah, wait for your time. And the episode ends with Ethel accepting that she'll eventually be in heaven permanently someday, but for now she should try to enjoy her life She should just enjoy her life. Now, I mentioned it a little bit in the original review, but man, Earl is such a douchebag in this episode. Not saying him being a douchebag is a bad thing, but I feel like even more so than in other episodes, Earl is just at his worst here. Now, Ethel and Earl's dynamic is very stereotypical of a sitcom. Earl just Ethel being the mother-in-law who just hates Earl's guts, and in return, Earl also very much doesn't like her. It's something we see it in Bob's Burgers with Linda's parents and Bob, and especially in The Simpsons with Patty and Selma and Homer. And hell, even Babs and Carter to Peter. So like a lot of these sitcoms really love doing that. I guess it must be somewhat true to reality if it's a trope that all these shows love doing. So yeah, giving this up, I guess, because Ethel for once is taking a more central role other than being, let's all be honest, more of a side character in the show usually. Her getting a big role like this, I guess, gives more of a chance to show that how much Earl doesn't like her. But geez, I didn't even. I'm not sure if I realized it when first talking about this up when first watching it, but she could have just been sleeping girl. She could have been sleeping Earl. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I feel really like overexcited, and I do apologize if it's very bad and very noticeable for you too. I'm just, whew. So yeah, seeing Earl just like Earl and his bro Roy just like digging Ethel is very, very shocking to say the least. I'm honestly kind of shocked that they'd even have them go that far. Totally understandable on Fran's part, especially since he didn't even see Ethel dying originally. So to her, Earl could have totally been doing this for no reason. He really does hate her that much. Other than that, well, again, I mentioned a good amount in the review, but especially much like a lot of other season 2 episodes, this episode is surprisingly good in the satire department, pretty much mocking how people will genuinely take advantage of anyone's stories for their own excuse, or I should be saying their own gain. Like at first it's some mystery show that only repeats the same 4 mysteries, that's the joke. And then to make things even worse, after she's done with that, some dude's like, oh man, we gotta use her story to help inspire people. But really, it's also a just very crappy, low budget show that again is only just trying to capitalize on a real life event. Which even now on social media, a lot of people do. So this is still a very relevant topic. And yeah, I think they do it very funny. They do a very funny job with it. Again, just really. One thing you gotta love about Dinosaurs is how they, again, before South Park and debatably around the same time as The Simpsons, because they were being made around the same time, this show also definitely does not hesitate to just make fun of things at the time. And again, in a case like this, something that can honestly still be pretty damn relevant now. It's something I both respect and just enjoy about the show. One of my favorite aspects about it, in fact. So yeah, that's all fine and good. Now, I've been praising this episode pretty well, but is there any problems I have with the episode? I guess outside of the main points I talked about, I wouldn't say the episode's extremely funny. Like, I guess this is more so me explaining why it's not a 5, and I still do agree with my 4 rating, which, speaking of which, I forgot to grab my notepad. But yeah, this is now the 4 for 4 out of 5 I've talked about the series. To recap, to those who haven't seen the past episodes, I've so far covered 1 5 out of 5. This is my 4 for 4 out of 5 that I've reviewed for this month thoughts, and only 1 3 and 0 2 or 1s. So definitely, you guys want me to talk about episodes I like without loving, and yeah, I don't think anything in this episode is done so well that I consider it truly great. Again, beyond the good satire, and again, Earl just being the freaking worst, there's not a ton of amazing jokes in this episode. It's one I consistently enjoy without like loving it. Maybe part of the problem is that although I wouldn't fully call myself Christian, but I am someone who believes in at least some form of a god. Like, there's no way it's just us. Like, I don't want to go all religious on you, but personally speaking, I do believe in at least some form of an afterlife, and that someone did something had to create all of this beyond just Big Bang, or just at least that there's better life out there in the universe than us humans. I do believe in this type of thing. However, death still isn't my favorite topic. Even in this description, I kind of made it clear that death as a concept I find very uncomfortable. I have no idea if subconsciously that's why I'm not ranking this episode higher. Like, I'm just not really fully comfortable with it. But I think part of it too is that. Honestly, I think that's fully it, actually. It's an episode I enjoy watching, and I think it's good, but it's not one where I'm screaming to go rewatch it a ton. It's like if I'm watching the show, yeah, it's a good episode. I'm going to put it on for people who haven't seen the show. It's not like a 3 out of 5 where it's like, I'm hit or miss on it. It's a 4. I do enjoy it. Ethyl does get some good lines in there. Like, I'm dead. I know my rights. And just her general, and even her not wanting to hang out with her granddaughter Charlotte, which, I mean, to be fair, she didn't really. Oh, Charlene, crap, my bad. Charlene, it's been a couple months since I've seen the show. Charlene didn't really want to hang out with Ethyl either, but still, come on, Ethyl, spend some time with the granddaughter. In terms of the ranking. So going to go back to the Dinosaur Season 2 review real quick, just to see where I placed the episode overall. Man, guys, Z-Man Reviews is live. I'm not sure if you've seen it yet. I put it as number 5 overall. And yeah, I think that's right. Looking at the list now, I think the episodes I put above it are better. Nuts to War Part 2, Sexual Harass, Career Opportunities. Yeah, these are better episodes. It is still above a ton of other 4 out of 5s, though. Even other ones I remember liking well, like Fran Live. In general, Dinosaur Season 2 is a consistently good season, and I think this episode is just another good example of it. I guess, in other words, this episode is a good example of what I like about Dinosaur Season 2. Well, the satire's there, the solid enough jokes are there. It still lacks a bit of, like, the character stuff, but even then, compared to a lot of other episodes, I think this one actually does that better than a good amount of these others, which is probably why at the time, the 4 month ago Z-Man probably did put this one so high up on the list at number 5 in terms of the Season 2 ranking, because it did tackle that very well, I thought. Unfortunately, I think that's all I gotta say about Last Temptation of Ethyl. Again, when I already thought the initial review was good, it makes it a little difficult for me to really try to bring a ton of new things. I hope I did my best, though, to share more reasons as to why I do enjoy this episode without thinking it's like a masterpiece. I don't think I have much else to add other than, please give me more episodes to give them our thoughts on. I'm always down to rewatch stuff I've already reviewed if it means I can get a good Martin Thoughts episode out. With that, thank you for watching, take care, and I'll see you guys next time. Also, sorry for being so jumpy. Again, I don't know what's up with me today, or tonight, or whatever. Not a good reviewer. Seriously, this is when you choose to make fun of, like, the whole baby catchphrase? Yeah. What am I gonna do with you, Bimmy?